Good evening. We are called the Dayton Unit NAACP annual meeting to order. And we're going to ask, as you can see on the screen, keep clicking. We have an agenda. And the agenda says that we are going to call the meeting to order, which we just did. We're going to have prayer. Then we're going to have our meeting norms and vision statement read. Roll call in previous minutes. A financial report. President's report. Standing and special committee reports. Unfinished business. New business. Next general membership meeting, date 1/28/2013. End of business meeting, closing prayer, and then we're going to our Christmas celebration. The Bible says for us to pray for our leaders. And we're going to come from 1 Timothy 2:1 and 2. Reverend Crystal.
Let me read to you the scripture mentioned. I exhort therefore that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and for all that are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. For this is the good and acceptable in the sight of God our Savior. Let us pray. Dear Lord, we come before you today thanking you, Lord, for the business of the NAACP, for years and centuries of fighting injustices for civil rights for all of mankind. Lord, we first ask prayers for our President of the United States, President Barack Obama. We ask prayers, Lord, that you keep him protected and safe, Lord, and that his leadership be seen and known. Lord, we ask for prayers for the NAACP National President, Benjamin Jealous. We ask, Lord, that his leadership and his guidance be acceptable, Lord, and that he is working in honor of all mankind. For our Ohio State President, Sybil McNabb, Lord, we ask that your hand be placed upon her, Lord, as she just leads the different functions of the state organizations of the NAACP, the units, in all honesty and goodness. And for our very own President of the Dayton unit, NAACP, Derek Ford, we ask, Lord, that you continue to lift him and to guide him and to be with him, Lord, through all the decisions that he makes and through the community efforts that he makes. Lord, we ask for a prayer over this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Meeting norms. We are to commence each meeting with prayer, which we just concluded with doing that. Adhere to meeting schedule except when common agreement to extend the time. The agenda of the day will be followed unless there is an overwhelming decision to address another particular issue. Respect each participant's right to voice his or her opinion. However, it will be appreciated if their opinion is communicated in a respectful manner. Turn cell phones off or either on vibrate. If you receive a call, please leave the meeting area while answering the call. Abide by the brainstorming rule when applicable. Each volunteer is valuable to achieving the unit vision, mission, goals, and objectives and should be treated as a professional and with respect. Disrespect, embarrassments, put-downs, and personal attacks are unacceptable. Each meeting will follow the Constitution of the NAACP and the bylaws for units, local bylaws, and Robert's Rule of Order as applicable. Lengthy discussion items should be tabled or sent to a committee for disposition. There are some cue cards or index cards that are going to be floating around. We're going to get through all of our reports first. And at the end, if you have a question for a particular chair, you can ask that question at that time. Our vision statement. Our vision is to fulfill the dream of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by capitalizing on the second A of the NAACP, which stands for what? What does it stand for? Advancement. We are forever grateful to our forefathers and foremothers who have fought the good fight so there could be political, educational, economic, and social equality and rights for all Americans. We salute them for their bravery. Roll call. Secretary Walker.
Derek Ford. Reverend Branham. Rosa Smith. Tom Roberts. Dorothy Treese. Janice Kimball. Lorenzo Harris. Miss Bailey. Stacy Benson Taylor. Tyrone Bonner. John Chapman. Chris Courtner. Lou Dell. Edward Dixon. Brian Dunson. Jean Ford. Deborah Benson. LaToya Howell. Darrell Johnson. Minta Kimball. Cedric McGee. Dr. Boiler. Attorney Owens. Carolyn Perkins. Rajay Perkins. Demetrius Rush. Christopher Shaw.
Here.
Jamie Simpson.
Here.
Deborah Smith.
Here.
Willie Terrell Jr.
Here.
Monica Thomas. Anthony Whitmore.
Here.
Dinah Williams.
Yes.
Attorney Spells. That concludes roll call.
Previous minutes.
General membership meeting, Monday, November 26, 2012. The meeting was called to order at 6:10 p.m. by President Ford. Fred Williams conducted the prayer. President Ford conducted the roll call. Previous minutes read by the secretary. Reverend Branham moved for them to be accepted. Chris Courtner second. The motion carried. Third, Vice President Roberts, no written report, a verbal report. He thanked everyone who worked for the voting transportation, discussed the lame duck session and the fiscal cliff, and also discussed Mrs. Margaret Peterson's initiative to have the 15 past civil rights leaders placed on the Peace Bridge. Treasury report, Janice Kimball. Chris Courtner moved for the report to be accepted. Stacy Benson Taylor seconded. Motion carried. President's report read by President Ford. Discussed the various functions he attended. Discussed the appointment of the Armed Services and Veterans Affairs Chairperson, John Chapman. The Executive Committee approved unanimously. The Executive Committee also unanimously approved the expenses for President Ford at $1,300 and First Lady Jean Ford at $460 to attend the annual meeting of the NAACP in February 16, 2013 in New York City. He spoke that we need to solicit memberships. We are the third largest membership in Ohio. The 2013 calendar of events was discussed, went over various programs for the upcoming year. He moved for adoption of his report with the action items. Chris Courtner moved. Tom Roberts seconded. Motion was carried. There were no action items from standing committees. The reports can be found on the table at the There was no unfinished business. New business, the annual meeting on December 17th will be at 6 p.m. at the new rec center in the old Princeton Park building. Each committee member needs to provide 4 to 5 bullet points for President Ford by the end of the week. Business meeting closed at 6:45 p.m. Community workshop was chaired by Veterans Affairs Chairperson John Chapman. It was on the what benefits are available to veterans. That concludes the minutes.
You heard the minutes. What is your pleasure?
Second.
It's been probably moved and second that the minutes be accepted as read. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Finance report. Treasurer Kimball.
Treasurer's report for November 2012. Regular memberships, $90. Life memberships, $1,600. Freedom Fund 2012, $12,045. Donations for the month of November 2012, $1,400. Memberships National, $65.70. Interest received for the month of November, $14.90. Miscellaneous credits, $2,250. November's monthly income was $17,465.60. Expenses for the month of November 2012 totaled $45,781.86 for an expense difference of $28,316.26.
You've heard the treasurer's report. What is your pleasure? Moved by Chairman Cordner.
Second.
Second by Chairman Terrell. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. The treasurer has a few other reports that she's going to go over.
Looking over the finances going back to the year 2000. The year 2000, under the presidency of Jesse Gooding, there was a surplus of $35,348. 2001, there was a deficit of $12,560. 2002, there was a deficit of $5,228. The year 2003, under Floyd Johnson, there was a deficit of $34,930. 2004, under Johnson, a deficit of $10,845. 2005, there was a deficit of $1,871 under President Baines. 2006, there was a surplus of $1. In 2007, under President Ford, there was a surplus of $5,542. 2008, President Ford, a surplus of $2,032. 2009, President Ford, a surplus of $25,151. 2010, under President Ford, there was a surplus of $107. 2011, under President Ford, there was a surplus of $16,418. This year, there's looking at a deficit of, as of the end of 2012, a deficit of $10,341 under President Ford.
And the deficit that you just heard about, that we actually have $10,200 still to collect in Freedom Fund money. So that $10,200 will cut into the deficit that you see right there. But we're calling upon you, because as you see, $10,200 is not going to offset the $10,341. In addition to that, it's not going to offset the bills that we're going to incur for the month of December. So we want to make certain that if you know a friend, we are currently online. Well, well, I'll let our communications chair steal that thunder. But we're asking you to go out there and solicit members this month. As you heard earlier, we're the third largest unit in the state of Ohio, only behind Cincinnati and Cleveland, respectively. We have an opportunity to be number one. I think you have one more slide there, Treasurer.
What I'm going to read to you were my bullet points for 2012. First one is knowledgeable. I attempted to be knowledgeable of all monetary transactions, accuracy, made sure that vouchers were in line with invoices requesting payment, and made sure that checks written were matching the vouchers and the invoice if available. Timeliness, ensured that checks were written, if possible, at least within 3 days following the voucher request. Organization, ensured that all financial records within my possession were ready and available for authorized review.
Thank you. That is from the Finance Committee. President's report. Became the first and only Diamond Life member of the Dayton unit NAACP. Strategically developed. All right. Strategically developed one of the best teams in the history of the Dayton unit NAACP. That's what we need to applaud. One of the best teams in the history of the Dayton unit NAACP. A budget surplus of $38,909 since being elected president in 2006. Raised $17,920 in memberships this year, totaling 130 memberships. Overall, raised $135,730 in memberships since 2002, totaling 882 memberships. Memberships has grown 12% since being elected. As a result, we're the third largest unit in the state of Ohio. Complaints has decreased 57% since being elected president, primarily due to implementing our proactive civil rights agenda. We received a Thalheimer Award for unit programming, which is the highest award that any unit can receive from the NAACP. And lastly, out of 17,000 employees who work at Speedway, was honored to receive the Volunteer of the Year Award at our Living Our Values ceremony last month. That concludes the President's report. We're going to move for all those reports at the end of the meeting. And so at this point in time, I'm going to call First Vice President Herman E. Branham, Reverend Herman E. Branham, who's also our Religious Affairs Chair. Reverend Branham.
Good evening. Achievements 2012. Moderated the Dayton NAACP monthly community meeting, and it was entitled The Role of the Church from a Civic Engagement Standpoint. And that went very well with different ministers, different clergy from different churches, and they went so well they are asking maybe can we have a couple of those a year. And what this is doing is allowing us to bring all their clergy and churches together. It doesn't make any difference what denomination. And we feel as though being clergies, that our role is very important. We need to be out among the public and people need to see us working together and doing some things to even help within the community. Facilitate a meeting between the Dayton Baptist Pastors and Ministers Union, which I'm part of, and our political action chair. And this is a group of churches and pastors that we meet every Tuesday, and we sit and discuss different things that we can elaborate on in order to come together to help the community. But my focus has been on getting them to become partners, whereas they can go to their different churches and be able to talk to their parishioners about taking out memberships for the Dayton unit in the ACP, as well as becoming more involved. Because we have an opportunity more so than others, because we're standing before our congregation every Sunday morning, and we're able to report to them as far as what's going on and what is needed. So in order to keep us where we want to be, as far as the NAACP here in Dayton, Ohio, if all our different clergies from the Baptist union would come together and encourage their members to become more involved, and not only just to join, but to come out to our meetings on the fourth Mondays of every month. I work with the Dayton Baptist Pastors Minister Union to secure a table for our Freedom Fund banquet, and they willingly did that, and we appreciate that. And I also have met with the clergy of different denominations to discuss home care for our senior citizens, because right now it's very important, and I was able to meet with them and to be able to gather some facts and get information that was able to give to our different churches that they can pass out, because we have a lot of senior persons in our churches, and there's benefits, there's things out there that they're not aware of. And so I was able to meet with them to be able to pass the information out. I also attended a meeting with advocates for basis of legal equality, which is called ABLE, and Legal Aid of the Western Ohio, to see how our organization can work more closely together on various issues affecting the citizens in Montgomery County. So as being a member here and first VP of the NAACP in Dayton, we need to be able to meet with all organizations in order to be able to get some collaborative interest and find out and discussion to find out what we can do that can help them, and we can also be able to let them know things they can do to help us. And so that ends my report as far as for 2012 on what I feel as though I accomplished.
Thank you, First VP Brown. At this time, we're going to hear from Second VP Rosa Smith, who also serves as our Health Committee Chair. Second VP Smith.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right. It is, before I start my report, let me just say thank you for the flowers that you sent me. I suffered a stroke, and I don't have any side effects. So I'm very, very happy to stand up here talking and walking and everything. Thank you for the prayers, for your attention and the phone calls and all that. It matters greatly. Keep praying for me. Okay, so as far as the, I'm second vice president and the health committee chair, and a few accomplishments is that I moderated the Dayton NAACP monthly community meeting when we talked about understanding your medications and what you should ask your pharmacist and your doctor. And that, as I recall, was a very good meeting. I don't think it was very well attended, but the people there had lots of great questions, and we were there overtime, as I recall. Also facilitated the Founders Day, the 103rd Founders Day here in Dayton, whereby we discussed the history, current relevance, and solution to some of the cultural issues that we have. Moderated a Dayton NAACP monthly community meeting entitled Healthcare Challenges in the African American Community, What Will You Do About Them? We distributed fresh fruits and vegetables at the Juneteenth celebration at the park. What was the name of the park? The Juneteenth celebration. McIntosh Park. Yeah, that was a huge hit because a lot of children kept coming back, and we used that also for an opportunity to educate. It was a great opportunity. So they'd come back and ask for another piece of fruit, which we freely gave. We said, okay, now you go over there and tell that table that they should eat a certain amount of carbs every day, whatever. So that was a great opportunity. Also, we provided health tips to members of the organization on a monthly basis. So I would encourage, since God let me live through my stroke and still walking and talking and all that, I would encourage you all to continue to love yourselves. Don't take your health for granted. Eat right. Drink a lot of water. Keep all those main organs working well. And so that concludes my report, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Second VP Smith. You know, and it is quite an honor to see her here because she's really not been with us for probably about the past few months. She was in the hospital for over a month, and you know, Lord has brought her through. So, so we're most definitely happy to have you back. You know, going into the holiday season. At this time, we're going to hear from our third Vice President, Dr. Tom Roberts, and he's also serves as our Political Action Chair. Dr. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a very good year, beginning with the presentation from County Commissioner Dan Foley. I moderated at one of our monthly meetings, and it was a discussion about the opportunity for metropolitan government in the Dayton region. This was something that came out of our candidates night the year before, and people wanted to know more about what we were thinking or what the governments were thinking about metropolitan government. And Commissioner Foley did a very good job in presenting some of those thoughts. We moderated a candidates night, which was the largest gathering of African Americans in the 2012 election season. We had 12 candidates and over 100 people attended the event. This was a collaboration between the Dayton Montgomery County National Pan-Hellenic Council and the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Ohio Free and Accepted Masons. We conducted 2 successful workshops on voter empowerment, and one was with various churches with Reverend Earl Harris from Greater Allen, pulling together some churches for us to have the workshop. And the second one was pulled together by the Deltas. And this was a workshop to empower individuals to go back to their churches or communities to do voter registration, and then to share with voters information about the upcoming 2012 election. I also coordinated on a monthly basis, along with other people, a monthly meeting of community leaders to plot out our course of action for the November election. In that group, there were sororities, fraternities, community groups, and also pastors. And what we worked on at that event was voter empowerment and voter registration and get out the vote. And I continue to do every 2 times a month the WDAO program with Michael Ecton. Mr. President.
Thank you, Third VP Roberts. At this time, we're going to hear from our Little John Junior Youth Council President, President Tanea A. Bailey. This is our group, our age group, that's kids ages 1 through 12 that are taught leadership development and community service. But before she comes up and speak, I do want to acknowledge our mayor. I see our mayor is here. Can you stand to be recognized, Mayor? Thank you for coming. And I also see Chairman Greer of the Northwest Priority Board, who actually this is his center right here. And I think you're all headquartered out here, right? Stand to be recognized, please. Okay, so with that, President Bailey.
Our membership increased 34% compared to last year. We participated in local, state, regional, and national NAACP trainings. We adopted 3 families for Christmas. At the Feast of Giving, we passed out hats and gloves to homeless and low-income families. We participated in the Walk for Cancer. We participated in various voter registration drives. Our financial stewardship as of November 30th, 2012, our balance in the bank is $566.62. Our income versus expenses difference, we have a surplus of $504.19.
Now, this is our president of our Little John Junior Youth Council. And here it is, they're handling business, transacting business in a very professional manner, having a surplus of $504.19, even though their account really isn't a lot of money inside their account, but at least they know how to manage the funds that they do have, and they're good stewards of their money. Great job, President Bailey. At this time, we're going to hear from the president of the Dayton Youth Council. And these are our students ages 13 through 17. And our president of the Dayton Youth Council is none other than President Rajay D. Perkins.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Rajay Perkins. So far, what we have done this year, we've held we had a Black History Month program, participated in local, state, regional, and national trainings, participated in various community service events. We also attended the Black Men's Think Tank Conference and picnic, the Holiday Adopt a Family, and we also attended the Feast of Giving. We've done the African American Wellness Walk, Juneteenth celebration, conducted over 20 voter registration drives, totaling over 700 new voters. And for that, I want to give special thanks out to Ms. Bernice Williams. She did over half of the registrations that we had. And we also did Martin Luther King Junior March and Rally, RTA bus stops, Charlotte Springs Senior Apartments, Montgomery County Jail, and we totaled over $174 this year. We totaled over $475 this year. I mean $74 this year. That's it. Thank you.
Hold on for a second, Mr. President. Now, did you all hear what he just said, what he just reported? The youth led the way for our organization. They registered over 700 new voters. I think that deserves another round of applause. That's what the Dayton Youth Council did in collaboration with the Little John Youth Council and the adults, but they led the way. And I want to say thank you for that, young man. Mr. President, thank you. At this time, hold on for a second, President Bailey. At this time, we're going to hear from Reverend Crystal D. Walker, who you heard from earlier as our secretary, but she also serves as our prison committee chair. Secretary Walker.
The prison committee moderated a Dayton Unit NAACP monthly community meeting entitled Ohio's Death Penalty, worked with the Kairos Prison Ministry at Ohio Reformatory for Women, also the Kairos Prison Ministry at Dayton Correctional Institute. I attended and graduated from the Dayton Police Department PAC training, which is Police and Clergy Together Alliance, and I'm working with Craig Powell with PowerNet of Dayton, Chris Shaw with the Dayton Unit NAACP, and Payne Seminary with the Clergy and Community Economic Development.
Thank you very much, Chairlady Walker. And if we could, because this has been filmed, so we want to make certain that we have our mouths up to the mic so that it's projected as we are speaking. At this time, I want to hear from our Chairman of our Communications, Press, and Publicity, by ways of Ms. Carolyn Y. Perkins, Chair of our Communications, Press, and Publicity. And as she's coming, We have a lot of food over there. And so we're gonna make certain that your tummies are hungry. And we're gonna try to continue to move through this very expeditiously so we can get you right there. And one other person I wanna recognize before she speaks. Now, he's our representative again, but he's my buddy. That's none other than Representative-elect Fred Strayhorn. And I also want to recognize former president of the Dayton Unit NAACP, Mr. Floyd Johnson. Okay, Cheerleading Perkins.
Good evening. This year I just put down a few things that I did. I developed flyers for each of our monthly meetings and made frequent updates to the website and our Facebook page. And we also have a Twitter account that I'm getting straightened out here. And we also have a new online membership application. You've got one button that you can actually print out a form and mail in, and there's another button that you push that's right on the front page that you can actually fill out your membership online and then pay with a credit card through PayPal. So that's new for this year, and we've been working on it a while. I'm working with the Mr. President here, so got it up, we're running. Also, I attended monthly state and regional and national meetings, and I participated in the Ohio Conference NAACP in their lobby day at the Ohio State House. I worked with voter registration for the state and with our local chapter here and the youth council. And I worked on training canvassers, and I was at and participated at the educational training they had with the Deltas and the churches. I also hosted the update of the Dayton Unit NAACP TV show on DATV, and you can watch that when it's scheduled on Channel 5, or you can look at it on your computer or your tablet if you go to datv.org and look for on demand, and you'll be able to lock into any of the TV shows current and past. I also worked with the local office. We did some local forum development there and helped upkeep with the office supplies and the equipment. So I want to thank you all for coming, and that's it.
Thank you, Cheerleading Perkins. And you see she got that Santa hat on. Very Merry Christmas. And to expedite time now, we want to make certain that that we come in this order. So as each person is reporting, Cedric McGee is going to report next. He's the chairman of our AXO Youth Program. Then Chairman Terrell. Then Chairlady Monica Thomas. Chairlady Dale. And Chairman Chris Cordner, in that order. But we also have another elected official here tonight, and that is by ways of Mark Owens, who's a fully paid life member of the NAACP, who's our Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Please stand and recognize. Chairman McGee.
Good evening. I'll just highlight a few points for the past season. The AXO has held a 2012 local competition at the Kroc Center on April the 21st. There were 10 gold medalists. There's one here tonight in Savannah. Sorry, I pointed you out. And 2 gold medals last year in the local competition. We brought home 2 national medalists. Liza Straughter in the category of computer science and Takesha Hankins in the category of engineering. And both students have gone on to college. And might I add, one of them, Liza Straughter, is a Hurricane Katrina survivor. We raised money for the National AXO competition to go to Houston, Texas. We did that through candy sales, car washes, fish fries, buy sales, grant money. And we're continuing to do those same kind of things this year in raising money towards Orlando, Florida. We're committed to the excellence of African American high school students, and we would like you to be a part of this outstanding program. If you have any high school students out there, please visit our meetings on Tuesday nights at Westwood, preschool through 8th grade school at 6:30 on Tuesday nights. And we have a meeting tomorrow as well. For the president, we have $3,229.04 in the current balance. And we'd just like to thank all the parents, mentors, and judges, and the executive committee, and all the community leaders that continue to support us. And please continue to support us throughout the season going on into 2013. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman McGee. As Chairman Terrell is coming up, I also want to acknowledge the presence of Dayton City Commissioner Joy D. Williams. Please stand and be recognized. And also Katie Crosby, who's the Executive Director of the Human Relations Council. Please stand and be recognized. Chairman Terrell.
Good evening, everyone. We can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Love you. The last time I stood before you, talk about our scholarships, I asked the people that were in attendance at the Freedom Fund banquet to say a prayer for Rosa. So we know God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. We love you, Rosa. My scholarship report. Ryan India Crawford, a student at Stivers School for the Arts, was selected for the Laverne B. Gooding Scholarship for $1,000. Our own Savannah Smith, a student at Stivers School for the Arts, was selected for the Jessica O. Gooding Scholarship. And if you remember, Savannah was at the hospital with her mom. She was not able to be there. So Savannah, congratulations. We need a chance to recognize you. Guerra Broadway, a student at Thurgood Marshall High School, was selected for the Molly O. Williams Scholarship for $1,000. And Raquel Gonzalez, a student at Stivers for the Arts, was selected for the Derek L. Ford MCE Visionary Leadership Scholarship for $1,500. And we will be treated later in the program with some information from Raquel. And thank you for attending today, Raquel. Each student will receive their scholarship award when he or she shows proof of graduating from high school and proof of acceptance to a college or university at the July 2013 Dayton NAACP General Membership Meeting. And for those of you, and we explained it at our meeting at the Freedom Fund banquet, students need to have a 2.5 grade point average. They needed to have a transcript from their high school that they attended, and verified by their counselor. Move my report.
Thank you, Chairman Terrell. Our next chair is Chairlady Monica Thomas. She's going to be leaving us, from the chairmanship of education, but I wanted to wait until this time for us to have a moment of silence for those youth, those 20 kids, 6 and 7 years old, that lost their life in a horrific, just an unthinkable act of terror. And 7 adults who wanted to defend their honor, to try to protect those youth. So as our education chair comes up, we want to have a moment of silence. Thank you. Chairlady Thomas.
Thank you, President Forward. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Monica Thomas, the chair for the Education Committee. This year, some of the highlights was the moderation for the NAACP Unit Monthly Community Meeting, which was entitled Community Programs That Support Education. We had pretty good attendance at the meeting. We had nonprofit organizations come out and share how their organizations are supporting our schools as well as some of our charters in the community to increase educational outcomes for students. The Dayton Unit NAACP was included as a partner for the Dayton Regional-wide Learn to Earn initiative. If you're not familiar with the initiative, I really encourage you to go online and learn more about the initiative. And it's an initiative that ensures that every student is ready to learn when entering kindergarten and ready to learn when graduating with a post-secondary educational credential. And it's a really big push that the community is partaking in to really focus in on what support students need to be successful. Looking at a cradle to college continuum on how those educational supports can be put in place. I served as a member of the Dayton Public Schools Accountability Panel to be informed firsthand on what the district is doing to increase educational achievement for students. Attended the 2012 Student Success Symposium to better understand how to organize community efforts to increase the college-going culture in the Dayton area. I began initial communication with Tony Perry Gillespie. She's the Director of Family and Community Engagement for Dayton Public Schools, and we began to talk about how parent involvement efforts can be increased in the Dayton area to really impact educational outcome for students. I began working with some key staff as well as some co-workers at Sinclair Community College to inform parents about early college educational opportunities for parents. Some of the programs that Sinclair Community College offers for young youth in the community is the Young Scholars Program, Upward Bound, PSEO, which stands for Post-Secondary Educational Option. It's an opportunity for students to earn high school credit as well as college credit at the same time. Educational Talent Search, which is a program that's offered through Belmont High School, Fast Forward Center, Seniors to Sophomores Program, Quick Start, and Academic Resource Centers. And a lot of these programs are also geared toward remediation for students who aren't quite college ready, but still need a little help to make sure that they can test in the college level coursework. So I'll begin some collaboration there as well. Began grassroots work with youth serving organizations, informing parents and community organizations about educational support and supplemental education programming for children and youth. And what the committee really wanted to do was to gather some of the nonprofit organizations who offer supplemental services in schools as well as in the community to look at what the community already had to offer in terms of enrichment programs for students. So we kind of information. Some of the key organizations that we work with were Camp IQ, Dixon Wellness Center, and then we also work with Good Brothers Production, which is the whole site for the Children's Defense Fund Freedom Schools program. And that school focuses on reading for third grade students, which is a really good national program. I also attended the PACE Expo on Saturday, March 17th to gather information and resources to share with education committee members as well as their network of parents and students in the community. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairlady Thomas. As Chairlady Dell is coming up, I'd also like to recognize Marlon Shackelford, who's the founder, president, CEO of the Street Soldiers, who's out here doing dynamic work inside the community. Chairlady Dell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I can't hear you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good, good, good. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have contributed in any way to the success of our program. We just cannot make it without you. So I'm saying thank you to you in person, pass it along in the community. that we really do thank you and appreciate your support. Now, I want to apologize to some of the people that work on my committee. Because you know, once the season starts, I don't play. So I'm gonna give you an apology once, publicly. I'm sorry for rushing you and pestering you and staying on you and not talking to you unless you were talking money. So, you got that. Now during the year, forgive me. I want to tell you so many things that we have done. I don't think all of that is up there. Oh, there it is. We were successful this year in raising over $116,000 for the Freedom Fund banquet. And we really had a wonderful affair. Those of you that attended, you were blessed. Those of you that didn't make it, I'm still praying for you. Now, we were also fortunate to secure for 2 African-American sponsors, African-American entrepreneurs. Mr. Oscar E. Blair, founder and president and CEO of Priority Building Services, and Mr. Amos L. Otis, founder, president, and CEO of Sobrand Incorporated. They served this year as our honorary co-chairperson. And as far as we know, as far as I know, this is the first time in the history of the NAACP that we were able to secure 2 African-American sponsors who came forward and stood firm with us. Thank you. Now, we know that there are others out there. Please talk to them. I will be talking to them. You know, you can find out anything you want to know on the internet. So we will be searching out others, and we want to keep all the others that we have. We want to invite some of the others back. We don't care. When it comes to raising our funds, it doesn't matter what you look like. It's just that we were fortunate this time that they were African Americans. That's all. Now, fortunately, we were able to increase revenue and table count in certain areas. We have the diamond level sponsorship, the gold level sponsorship increase, organizational level sponsorship increased, and really outstanding, our souvenir book was larger than before. So let's give a great big hand to this young man standing over here holding up the wall, Mr. Terrell. Would you come forward, please? And I do this because he kind of had a hard time for me, okay? I love him, but he knows I wasn't playing when it came to the money and the ads. So I just want to give him a small token for being patient with me and working so hard. Thank you, brother. And I also just want to hand my I have another young lady in here who walked in, came in to find out what we were all about. And before she could find out what we were all about, I just handed her a pen and a piece of paper and told her to write, take notes. You're the secretary. She was very obedient and did a magnificent job. So I want to call Sharita up. Let's give her a hand. See, I need all these people to really keep this Freedom Fund business going, because You know, we talk about membership being the lifeblood of an organization, and it is. But I'm gonna tell you, the Freedom Fund banquet pays for that blood. And it enables us to be able to serve our constituents and to allow our members to be trained, to attend training sessions, and allow us to have a place to meet, since no one else in the city has kind of helped us find another place. So we'll just keep on where we are until somebody comes forward to help us a little more. But right now, we just got to keep on working hard. So there's another person. Now, sometimes I have to tell him, back up, Mr. President. Okay, we got this, Mr. President. So I just want to thank him for his support and all that he does, and I want to give him a small token. Thank you. All right. And thank you all so much.
Thank you, Chairlady Dell. Okay. As the next few chairs come up, should be Chairman Kortner should be making his way, Chairlady Williams, Dinah Williams, Chairlady Simpson, Chairman Shaw, in that order. If you all can come up in that order. But while that's happening, we do have another report who is absent tonight, which is our Legal Redress Chair, and that is Attorney Nia Wortham-Spells. And Madam Secretary, she does have an excused absence, okay? So from a legal redress standpoint, Chairlady Spells moderated a monthly community meeting entitled Equal or Unequal Justice System. We settled the Joe Ross Motel 6 case for an undisclosed amount of money. And approximately 30% of all cases investigated had legal ramifications. So that's the report from our Legal Redress Committee. I do not see, oh, okay, here he comes now. Chairman Kortner is the chairperson of our Labor and Industry Committee. Chairman Kortner.
Thank you, good evening. I investigated over 180 cases this year. That was a 20% increase from last year. And it covers the gamut between school systems, between the police, sheriff and the Dayton police. It covers counties of Miami, Montgomery, Dark, Preble, let me go south now, Butler County, and let me see, I think that's all. That's pretty well. The reason why that is because a lot of the, like Middletown, they trying to get started. And Tri-County, some of the people that used to do these things have gotten older. And so the impetus is on myself because people call me and I can't turn nobody down because, you know, it's the help they need, so that's what I'm here for. I mediated over 20 cases. That's the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, went down there. I went to several school systems. I've talked about every superintendent in this area. Every last one of them, and they've all been very receptive. So it's, yeah, but you know, it's some things that happen that you can't be helped. So you know, that's why I do that. I met with the sheriff's department. We had two we had more than that. We had two high-profile cases of hangings at the desk at the county jail. Sheriff was very, very forward. Major Wilson, who was over the jail, I asked him, you know, if the family wanted to see some videotape. They taped all the incarcerations. They got tape on every section of the jail. So you don't have to worry about no underhand stuff. they're continuously monitored. If it's a red button they press, if the red button is pressed, the camera immediately goes to that area. So you don't have to worry about no under the cover stuff. Let's see. And sat in on several new conferences with my president here. You know, every time he calls, say, you come, there I am. We went down to Cincinnati together on that Motel 6 case and some other news conference that we held, you know, for the benefit of others and ourselves at the NAACP in Dayton. I also had 2 speakers at the August meeting, our community meeting. One was the EAP rep, and also another was, that was Tyrone Colbert, who's over the EAP program. And the way to deal with critical incidents was we had a speaker from Friendship Village, the CEO there, and he was very receptive. I've met some real good people in dealing with the cases that we have, and it's a load, but it's a burden that if you love your job, it becomes lighter. And I see Ms. Taylor out here, and I want to thank her because Ms. Taylor, she helped me get started on a lot of stuff. Her and Mentor Kimball, I want to thank y'all. They helped me get started when I first started here, and that, you know, that made me better because of the knowledge that they inputted to me. Also, lastly, 1,000 hours of volunteering. Okay, that not only covers office visits, which I'm in there most every day now, and it also when I had to go out into the community and do different things. So that's also, you know, my time and it's their time, so it's our time. So, you know, I appreciate it, and Derek put his trust in me. He got me started. He recruited me into the NAACP, and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Porter. As Chair Lady Williams is making her way, he did kind of steal my thunder a little bit there. I did want to recognize myself because I invited her to come tonight. That is by ways of Mary E. Taylor. Mary E. Taylor served a long time this organization as our secretary. So can we show Ms. Mary Taylor? She's been through some health challenges, but she's here this evening. And then I also want to recognize Ralph and Chris Dole, who are the founders, presidents, CEOs of the Dayton International Priest Museum. Please stand to be recognized. And then Joyce Willis, who is the president of the Dayton Montgomery County National Panhellenic Council. Ms. Willis. Shirley Williams.
Good evening, everybody. Okay. I just want to tell you a little bit what we did throughout the year. Derek and I, we attended churches, Summer Christian, Bethesda Temple, and Mount Eden, and some other churches, and we were successful in recruiting new members. We attended the Martin Luther King March in January, participated in the Dayton Unit NAACP Get Out to Vote rally. We encouraged people to vote at that time. I was highly active in the voting area, inside and outside of NAACP. So that was really a project that I really took to heart. And one thing that I really did this year was I attended, and with Derek's permission, the national convention that was held in Houston. That was my very first convention with the NAACP, and I really thank Derek for that. I really learned a lot and got a lot of experience and input and gained a lot of knowledge. I volunteered for the Freedom Fund Committee, purchased tickets, and ask area businesses to attend and assist with plaques, with the, congratulating the New Life membership at the Freedom Fund banquet. Moving forward, by being elected to serve at least 2 more years, I would like to take a more strategic approach to gaining more members and raising the momentum of all Ohioans, rather black, white, or Asian, and try to diversify the NAACP, the Dayton unit, and also trying to move us ahead as into the new century. We not only need to remember our past, but we also need to know where our future is going. And quickly, I would like to acknowledge 2 people that has been my backbone throughout the year, and I couldn't do without them. Real quickly, I would like to ask Willie Terrell and Lou Dale to please come back up to the podium. As you know, this is a one-man thing, but Derek has also been a very good help to me, but this has got to be the hardest thing to do, is membership. The hardest thing. And so I'm like looking around, it's got to be another leader or someone out there that would really like to take our hand and just, you know, take a stand and move forward with us in this new millennium. Udell and Willie, I just want to thank you so much for helping me gain the members that we did, and we love you very, very much. Thank you. One last thing. My mentor, we argue back and forth, but at the end of the day, he makes the decisions. I like him because he does take, he will listen, and he will make a change if he thinks that is something that would be good for NAACP. And I never forgot one night that we talked, and he says, Dinah, this is my job. So we as the committee, I just quickly got something here, and it's probably enough for about 3 or 4 memberships, or maybe something that you can do because you deserve to be paid. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairlady Williams. The one thing that, hold on, well, that's mine right there. Now, before you leave, Chairlady Williams, 2 quick things. I see on your report here, you have one closing statement.
Okay.
What does that say?
We can make a change this year and recruit new members, as well as bring back the current members. Let freedom ring.
All right, let freedom ring. All right. All right. Yeah, so, but one thing I do want to correct, it is not my decision for anybody to go to the National Convention. It is the body's decision. So basically what we do as an organization is the president will make recommendations to the executive committee. The executive committee will then make recommendations to the general membership, and then the general membership actually votes on people to go to the conventions. Chairlady Simpson. Jamie Simpson is the chairperson of our community coordination committee, and she as well will probably be doing something else. She has a couple of businesses that she oversees, so time has been really straining for her, but we're hoping that she will stick around, either continue to serve in this capacity or continue to serve with the NAACP. Chairlady Simpson.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I know I'm not going to hold you guys too long because I know you guys are ready to eat, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, Savannah, okay? All right, the community coordination, in collaboration with Chief Bill, educated citizens in our community about procedures to follow when stopped by the police. Chief Bill encouraged the youth to get involved with the Dayton Police Department volunteer program. In conjunction with Wright State University, we were able to strengthen our relationship with the Turkish community by learning their history, embracing their culture, and also I chair the Jazz Brunch for Central State University to raise scholarship money for students to attend CSU. We also provided networking opportunities for students at Wright State and Central State University who were interested in the medical field. Coordinating several voter registration drives at Omega Baptist Church. We also host a candidate night at the church as well. Moving forward, we are looking to engage in more community activities to inform, educate, empower people of all walks of life to be committed, or to be community serving. Thank you, President Ford.
Thank you, Shirley Simpson. Thank you. We have another report from the chairperson of our Women in NAACP, but as you see, we'll be reactivated in 2013. Mr. Kimball actually took the ball at the latter stages of this year, so we really didn't have a committee intact. Next, you see the former chair took on a sudden illness, but Mr. Kimball said that she would step up, but we're going to actually get reactivated and re-engaged and recharged in the year 2013. So as Chairman Shaw is on his way coming up, who serves as our Economic Development Chairperson, if we can have Deborah Chairlady Smith, Chairman Chapman, and Chairman Rush in that order to come up. Chairman Shaw.
Mr. President, the Economic Development Committee continue to engage with community stakeholders and monitor regional economic development initiatives. We have been actively involved with the Montgomery County Workforce Investment Board and have contributed in the development of strategies to ensure equity and access to career training and job development activities. Thanks a lot to Commissioner Lieberman and many, many others who invited us to take part in the Workforce Investment Board strategy, planning, and development, which is ongoing and I think is a very worthy organization to be part of. We also served on the Vulnerable Youth and Transition Committee and helped develop strategies for improving coordination of services for vulnerable youth in Montgomery County. These youths ages 16 to 24 with little or no family support and who are experiencing difficulties in one of the following areas: aging out of foster care, the juvenile justice system, mental illness, disabilities, and/or homelessness. I just can't say enough about this group that was put together by, among others, Debbie Feldman, the former county administrator, who brought the NAACP in to get our feedback and really encouraged us to participate, which we did. We championed soft skills training and job exposure for our youth and collaborating with private sector organizations to develop the skills that will be necessary for youth and others to engage and avail themselves of the opportunities that will be coming in the future in Montgomery County. We engaged with local economic development related organizations such as the Minority Business Partnership through the Chamber, South Central Minority Business Development Council, and many others to build connections and strengthen minority participation in contracting. I see the mayor here, and Katie Crosby was here earlier. We continue to monitor State of Ohio Department of Development and the City of Dayton Human Relations Council Department activities to ensure minority participation and fairness in contract awards. This is very important. The PEP program, I see Commissioner Williams here, who is a strong advocate and champion for minority business contracting, as well as the mayor, who has also been very vocal and supportive of our efforts. I can't say enough about one of our own here today, Roosevelt Burrell, who has really been outspoken and taken a strong stand on monitoring these activities and being an outspoken champion for economic development in our community, and I really want to thank him for that. Roosevelt, can you step up for a minute? As he's walking up, I just want to read to you this certificate of appreciation. It's presented to Mr. Roosevelt Burrell. Mr. Hold the Contractor Accountable for your relentless pursuit of justice as it relates to parity in contracting is quite inspirational. You have tirelessly monitored local, state, and federal economic development projects to assure equal access to job opportunities. Because of your passion and enthusiasm, the Dayton unit NAACP implemented a jobs referral program to assist skilled trades workers with opportunities that may not have been afforded to them otherwise. Great job. On this day, December 17, 2012, signed Derek L. Ford, President, and Christopher Shaw, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Shaw. Once again, I echo the same sentiments of Roosevelt Burrell. He's down at the office and he's ensuring that that every contract that comes inside this community, he's sending out a letter to those contractors, making them aware that we know they got the contract and we're here to assist them with their minority inclusion. Chairlady Smith, Chairlady Deborah Smith, she chairs our housing committee. And she's going to come up and give her end of the year report. Chairlady Smith.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm starving. Hopefully we'll be able to eat in a few minutes here. But good evening, everyone. I am the housing chairperson for the NAACP. Housing chairperson for the NAACP, the Dayton chapter. Montgomery County had over 18,000 foreclosures from the period 2008 to 2011. How many of you all know of someone has lost their homes in Montgomery County? Just raise your hands. Okay, and it's affected everyone. When my parents moved to Dayton from Detroit, Michigan back in the 50s, Dayton was known as the City Beautiful. We have beautiful homes, beautiful neighborhoods, and I want to see all of that come back again. But one of the things I wanted to mention is we see some changes coming down. The federal government sued some of the larger banks like Chase, PNC, some of the larger banks in the United States. As a result, we were awarded millions of dollars. And that money is trickling back down to our communities. We can even see it here in West Dayton. You may be familiar with Roosevelt Homes, right there located at West 3rd Street and North James McGee Boulevard. Have you all seen those homes coming up? There is like 43 single-family homes being built for low-income individuals. Also in Germantown Village, there's a 60-unit apartment complex. There's actually 5 buildings, 23-bedroom units, 21-bedroom units, and then also 22-bedroom units that are being built. And I think the groundbreaking for the Germantown Village was back in November 13th of this year. And the groundbreaking for the Roosevelt Homes, which is right down the street there, was August 22nd of this year. And they're both for low-income individuals. Also, for some of the people that know about or have homes that have been foreclosed on, I should say, there is a website, I don't know if you guys can read that. It's actually independentforeclosurereview.com, independentforeclosurereview.com, or you can call 1-888-952-9105 if your home or someone you know home has gone through the foreclosure process. there's a possibility that you could get an award, get some of your money back. And then you have to submit your paperwork by no later than December 31st of this year for them to review your loan process and see if there was something done erroneously. And lastly, I do need people to help me this coming year under the housing committee. So if you're willing to do some work and help me out, I'd be gladly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairlady Smith. She came really in the nick of time. You know, she has done an outstanding job because our former chairman, which is Paul A. Miller Jr., went a different direction in terms of, you know, his employment situation. And he really did an outstanding job for us. So for her to come after him, you know, really assisted us in continuing to work towards housing equity or housing justice, you know, inside of our community. So, you know, as retired Master Sergeant John S. Chapman comes up, he's the chairman of our Armed Services and Veteran Affairs Committee. You know, I just wanted to say, if you could pass those words along, my neighbor, just here, Mrs. Peggy Miller, if you could just pass that message along to Chairman, former Chairman Miller, let him know that we appreciate all the time that he invested inside of this organization to help the people inside Montgomery County. If you could pass that along, that'd be greatly appreciated. Chairman Chapman.
Good evening, members and guests. I just want to give a little report concerning our armed veterans, armed services veterans. Excuse me. Our November meeting, we asked the Herman Davis, who's Executive Director of the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission, and Jesse Johnson, who's a certified Veterans officer, to come in, and we basically, there's a lot of veterans and female veterans that's in our community that, for some reason or other, had bad experiences with the military. And what we discussed was eligibility requirements for compensation claims, educational and training benefits, and most important, obtaining a duplicate DD 214 discharge document and Department of Veterans Affairs medical card. These two pieces of documentation is very important in order for you to get any type of services from the VA, filing claims or whatever. Even as far as financial assistance. When I came back from Vietnam, it took me a little while to find employment, but I had opportunity to go down to the Veteran Services, and they had a program called the Veterans Relief Program, and I was fortunate able to take advantage of that. Our last issue was widows and dependent children. These two categories are very important because some of our veterans that were not able to come back from the wars, but their widows and dependents are also eligible for educational and financial opportunities. And again, I was very honored to have the opportunity to host this particular event because I belong to the VFW, the American Legion, and we're constantly trying to encourage our members to take advantage of some of these benefits. It might be a little tough, but Mr. Johnson is able to help individuals through the system. I also offered my services if anybody was interested, making contacts with the VA because of my work with the American Legion and the VFW. So if any of you members or guests have anybody that's interested in trying to obtain benefits or services, you can contact me personally, or we can give you a card for Mr. Jesse Johnson down at the Montgomery County Veteran Services. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Chapman. Chairman Rush, our Get Up to Vote Committee Chair. This is our last committee report, y'all.
Okay, I'll be very quick with it. I'm Get Out the Vote Chair. Okay, and naturally in Ohio, we was emphasizing the importance of early voting. And we organized a GOTV event entitled Riding with the Stars to the Polls. I think kind of spread it all over the United States, actually, because it was emphasized the last day that we voted, we not only registered, we took, I would say, at least 200 people to the poll downtown Dayton. And we communicated events on WDAO 92.1, and over 200 people registered to vote during this 13-hour period, which was the last day to register and vote. And also, I guess we can thank NAACP and the city of Dayton for 45,000 voters in the city of Dayton, which was very effective in the campaign because Mr. Barack, president, won about 100,000 votes in the state of Ohio. So I think Dayton needs to give itself a hand, actually. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Rush. At this time, I will entertain for a motion to accept all of the committee reports and the vice president's reports and the president's report that you have heard. So moved. It's moved by Chairman Terrell. Who seconded that? Second by Dr. Carl Moeller, that we accept all committee reports, president's report, and VP reports. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. At this time, we're going to have an opportunity to hear from Raquel Gonzalez. If you came to the Freedom Fund banquet this past year, she was the recipient of the Derek L. Ford Visionary Leadership Scholarship. And this scholarship mandates that a student answers this question. If you were an entrepreneur, what would be the vision statement of your company and why? And not only did they have to do that, but they also had to write out a business plan to talk about how they're going to run this business. So with that, Raquel, she wanted to share something with us today.
Thank you. My name is Raquel Gonzalez. I'm from Stivers School for the Arts. I am the recipient of the Derek L. Ford's Visionary Leadership Scholarship Award. I'm honored to represent the Dayton unit NAACP by receiving this award for my vision as a future entrepreneur. I chose to apply for this award because I love the business field. As I read the guidelines before participating, I knew that this scholarship was for me. This opportunity allowed me to create a business plan, using my creativity in a unique way while creating my vision. I have always been a planner, so creating a business plan was not only fun, but also beneficial to my future. In preparing this business plan, I was able to experience the necessary steps in creating a business and learn what would be important to me personally as a future entrepreneur. I would encourage everybody to apply for this scholarship, especially if you're interested in business and it's your forte, because it leads to creativity and deeper thinking in order to create a plan that reflects what's important to you. In choosing to apply for the Derek L. Ford Visionary Leadership Scholarship, I knew that I would be able to apply the things that were important to me in my own life and create it into a business plan that would benefit others. The Derek L. Ford Visionary Leadership Scholarship is a special award that is fit for any applicant. With hard work, creativity, and expressing personal interests, anybody may have the honor to win this award. President Ford's dream for this scholarship was special, as he created an award where students would have the freedom and responsibility to begin planning a vision for their future after college. I will have the opportunity to pay for books and other expenses in college because of President Ford's generous scholarship. I am thankful for this award because it allowed me to produce a business plan that I could use in my future. I would recommend every student to participate in this opportunity because much like me, you may be surprised at the outcome by winning this scholarship. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Raquel. It's always good to be able to have an impact statement from students who are actually inside of our organization or who has really never been in our organization. Number one, our AXO program. These students perform, they come through our program, they excel in their craft, and it's always nice to be able to have sometimes that those students come back and give some kind of impact statement on what the AXO program did for them, what the scholarships that they received, such as what Raquel did today, what the scholarships mean to them. That is something that we need to continue to work on as committee chairs, is as students are actually coming inside of our organization and benefiting from the NAACP. We need to make certain that they share an impact statement as it relates to how they felt inside the program, what it's going to do for them, and so on and so forth. So under new business, we have a ballot that we need to turn in every year, and we talked about this at our executive committee meeting last month, and we could not take action at that time because it was not December 1st. So with that, there's only 7, this is our national ballot. You can vote for no more than 7 candidates. This is for Region 3. And there are only 7 names on the ballot: Carolyn Coleman, Hazel Dukes, Kathleen Eglin, General Holyfield, Howard Jefferson, Jesse Turner Jr., and Richard Womack. What is your pleasure, to cast a unanimous vote for these 7 folks? Oh, and also our Region 3 representative, Lily Wilson. Vote for no more than 1 person, and there's only 1 person. What is your pleasure?
President, I move we cast unanimous vote for names to be recommended. Second.
Okay, it's moved by 3rd VP Roberts, second by 1st VP Brown, that we have cast one unanimous ballot for the names mentioned. Questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Our next executive committee meeting date is going to be January the 7th. That is not a 3rd Monday of the month, because, as you know, the 3rd Monday of the month, 2 things are happening. MLK Day is happening that day, and also President Barack Obama will take the oath of office. He's going to hold his private ceremony the previous day, but he's going to actually take the oath of office in a public setting on that 3rd Monday of the month. So only candidates that were elected on November the 4th can attend. The Dayton Unit NAACP 49th inaugural ceremony will take place 3 days later on Thursday, 1/10/13, and that's going to take place at the Montgomery County Old Courthouse. So all of you all are invited to our installation ceremony, which will take place on January the 10th, 2013, at the Montgomery County Old Courthouse at 6:30 p.m. 6:30 p.m. And then our next monthly meeting date for the community meeting, which will be back at the Dayton Boys Preparatory Academy, will be on January the 28th, 2013. All citizens are welcome to attend, and that will be at 6 o'clock p.m. As I call your names, if you can just please stand and wait till all names are called. Congratulations to our officers-elect. For officers-elect for 2013-2014, Reverend Hermione Brown retains the seat as first VP. Rosa E.R. Smith retains her seat as second VP. Dr. Tom Roberts retains his seat as third VP. Reverend Crystal D. Walker retains her seat as secretary. Dorothy M. Treese retains her seat as assistant secretary. Janice E. Kimball retains her seat as treasurer. And Lorenzo Harris, who is ill tonight, retains his seat as assistant treasurer. Can we show this leadership some appreciation? Thank you. Likewise, for the names on the call now, congratulations to the executive committee members elect. For 2013-2014, if you're here, please stand until all names are called. Stacy D. Benson Taylor, re-elected. Lou Dale, re-elected. Felicia A. Hill, new member. Latoya R. Howell, re-elected. Darrell L. Johnson, re-elected. Minta D. Kimball, re-elected. Dr. Carl E. Moeller, re-elected. Demetrius H. Rush, re-elected. If your name has been called, please stand and remain standing, please. If your name has been called, please stand and remain standing. Christopher L. Shaw, re-elected. Jamie Simpson, re-elected. Deborah A. Smith, re-elected. Willie A. Terrell Jr., re-elected. Anthony Whitmore, re-elected. Donna M. Williams, re-elected. And Loretta Williams, new member. Can we show our executive committee members some appreciation? Before we go to any questions, it's about 2 minutes after 8, so hopefully there is not any questions. But with that, before we do that, I have a couple of awards of people I want to acknowledge here this evening. Number one, if we can have Mrs. Jean A. Forward to come up. Mrs. Jean A. Forward, First Lady of the Dayton Unit, NAACP. She came inside her Pimco suit today. She just got off work and came straight to the meeting. And this is going to tell you the reason why she has this award. Dayton Unit NAACP Perfect Attendance Award. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Mrs. Jean A. Forward, Mrs. Al Be There, for your dedication, availability, and willingness to attend every executive committee meeting and general membership meeting for the entire year of 2012. From my perspective, many organizations would love to have people like you on their team. Keep up the great work. On this day, December 17, 2012, signed Derek L. Forward, President, Reverend Harmony Brown, First Vice President. Thank you very much. I don't know which one to do first or second here, but let's go with this one because of, I don't know how that's going to go, but can we bring Miss Carolyn Perkins up? Miss Carolyn Perkins. Come on out, Carolyn. Come on up here. She said it's time to eat. We're almost done. This says Dayton Unit NAACP Volunteer of the Year Award. Certificate of Appreciation is presented to Miss Carolyn Y. Perkins. Miss, I will lend a helping hand for your untiring love, dedication, and support to the overall operations of the Dayton Unit NAACP. Your relentless pursuit of communicating civil and human rights issues to the general public is unmatched. The work you have done throughout the years for officers, executive committee members, and office staff is invaluable. You are truly a team player. Thank you for your service. And the last award is going to go to Mr. Chris Courtner. And this says, Dayton Unit NAACP President's Award. certificate of appreciation is presented to Mr. Chris Cordner. Mr. I Want Justice, for your dedication, support, availability, and willingness to help the president of the Dayton unit NAACP at any given time. From driving to Miamisburg, Ohio, to investigate the Deputy Chief Major John DePietro teen hose down naked case, to traveling down to Sharonville, Ohio, to investigate the Joe Ross Motel 6 case. From my perspective, many organizations would love to have people like you on their team. Keep igniting the flames of justice. On this day, December 17, 2012, signed by President, First VP, Reverend Herman E. Brown. Thank you. Okay. Before we go to questions, I said I only had 3, didn't I? But we cannot leave this room today or start eating without understanding what makes the organization tick. What makes the organization tick is memberships. I'd like to call Mark Owens up here. What we have here is a life membership plaque. And when we talk about people being life members of the organization, Mark, Mr. Owens, has stood the course. He worked on his life membership and he said, Derek, you know what, I'm just going to get it done. Because I believe in the civil and human rights of all Americans. So to you, Mr. Owens, we appreciate that. And we appreciate what you do for this county. Continue to keep up the great work, and may God bless you, and may God bless the NAACP, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, sir. Any questions? Any questions going twice? Any questions a third time? Where's my gavel? Into the business meeting. Thank you. Enjoy your Christmas celebration.